police could be tracking you right now through your cell phone. Yeah, I know you haven't done anything wrong. Why would they do that? Well, they could. That's the new warning from the American Civil Liberties Union. It's just released the results of an investigation that found law enforcement agencies across the country track personal cell phones on a regular basis as a form of surveillance. The ACLU claims these agencies often do this without permission from any court. Some cops say tracking people's phones could actually save lives. Trace Gallagher's live in our West Coast News Hub this afternoon. You know, the people who wrote this report, Trace, claim the laws just haven't kept up with the technology.
Yeah, and they say that they really need uniform laws on how the government tracks you. The ACLU says the laws are now kind of in a state of chaos. You have different laws for different areas, and in some areas you have no laws at all. Now, there are some cell phone carriers that say they require a warrant or a court order before they give out police data, but the ACLU says, and I'm quoting here, the practice is so common that cell phone companies have manuals for police explaining what data the companies store, how much they charge police to access that data, and what officers need to do to get it. Here's Judge Andrew Napolitano. Listen.
The principle is the same no matter what the police are seeking to invade, whether it's your medical records, your legal records, your banking records, your cell phone records, or your computer records. If the government wants it, it needs a search warrant. If it gets it without a search warrant, it has committed a crime in the act of getting it.
There is now legislation in Congress that would make sure police get a court order before accessing any of your cell phone data, Shep.
But police have a completely different take, right, Trace?
Yeah, and they acknowledge they do track cell phone data, but they're saying it has nothing to do with invading your privacy and everything to do with enforcing security. They say they only use the information to investigate crimes and to track missing persons, and that obtaining a warrant can slow that process down. But former LAPD Detective Mark Furman says that's a risky policy. Listen.
That's the fruit of the poison tree rule. If your probable cause wasn't there to get a search warrant, you conduct, you obtain information that you couldn't get through a warrant, or you just failed to get a warrant, everything that came afterwards is going to fall.
And the report acknowledges there are departments around the country, like in Hawaii, Wichita, Kansas, and Lexington, Kentucky, that have no problems at all getting a warrant before they access the cell phone data. Shep.
All right, Trace, thanks. Back to the lawyers. Randy and Arthur are here. Where do you fall on this, Randy?
Do you know why Shakespeare said first kill all the lawyers?
I never met Shakespeare.
It's a lot of reasons.
It wasn't a joke. It was because that we, as lawyers, we're supposed to be the ones to protect the government from going nuts and being able to run roughshod over citizens. We, as a democratic society, we live and die on the fundamental notion of checks and balances, that we're supposed to have a check on the government, and I feel like Judge Napolitano, and I'm even doing it like the way he does it, to allow the government to go and do these things without a magistrate coming in to say, do you have enough evidence? Is it more likely than not that a crime has committed? We are no longer a democratic society. The government has taken over, and they can do whatever we want. And where the hell do we end up? In anarchy. It's nuts. It's insane. Go ahead.
No. There's no go ahead. Look, Shepard, we don't want people to, we don't want the government to be able to
Nobody's jumping up and down about this.
Yeah,
Nobody just seems to care.
Well, you're right. But we should. I mean, we really should. Somebody said a comment, oh, well, it's going to slow the process down if we have to ask for have to ask a judge, can we search authorized dollar cell phone records to find a missing person? Call me. Call me. Mr. Idala, we think we had a client in your office and he just stole his 5-year-old kid. Could you, I mean, give me a break. I don't want anyone knowing who I called, when I called them, for how long I spoke to them. And the interesting part...
Mainly because it's just none of their business.
Correct. Now, the flip side of it is, if you want to look far into the law enforcement community, if you take away all of our rights, Shepard, if I take away your right to search and seizure, if I allow the government to come in your house anytime they want, to search your dresser drawers anytime they want, you know what? Crime will go down. We will find missing persons. Drugs will be off the street. Guns will be off the street. If you could go into everyone's banking records whenever they want, there'll be less white-collar crime. We would have a perfect society. But who wants to live like that? Not me.
It wouldn't be a society.